So what does that mean?
What does that mean?
That means that I will call this meeting to order at 10 o'clock. And we will have an opening prayer by Pastor Glenn Shoemake from the First Christian Church to start with. And if you would you please give us a prayer for some guidance and some wisdom?
Absolutely. Good morning. Let's pray. Gracious Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the blessings of being able to live in a community, a county that is fruitful and is indeed a place of peace and a wonderful place to be. As we come together this morning for this meeting, we just pray that you would indeed give commissioners the insight, the discernment they need to make decisions that are good for the community as a whole. Bless them and guide them as they deliberate, as they consider all the things that need to be done. We ask for your blessings. We ask for peace and guidance. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you very much. You're certainly welcome to stay and watch the proceedings if you'd like to. Whose turn is it? All right.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Well, welcome everybody to Commissioner's Court. We do have a quorum, so we shall get underway. First of all, are there any public comments on agenda items?
There are not.
There are not, okay. Item number 6 is the consent agenda, and the consent agenda includes non-controversial and routine items that the court may act on with one single vote. The judge or a commissioner may pull any item from the consent agenda in order that the court discuss and act upon it individually as part of the regular agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as is.
Commissioner Snuggs makes the motion that we approve the consent agenda as is. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none. The consent agenda passes 5-0. Item number 7. Didn't take long, did it, guys? Presentation by Gainesville Economic Development Corporation, the GEDC, and possible action regarding county Freeport exemption for GEDC. Who's going to lead off here? Okay. And if you would, as you come to the mic, just identify yourself just for the record.
So I'm Will Presson, guys. I'm with representing the EDC here today. I'm vice president on the EDC. And guys, we kind of beat this horse down the road a little bit. You know, what we're asking today is you guys vote and approve that the county would accept, you know, Freeport exemptions under chapter the Texas Property Tax Code 11251. I think we all, you know, I'll go back over it again, but Freeport good is a good that comes into Texas as part of your personal property, your inventory, only inventory. It comes into would come into Cooke County for a temporary period of time, which is described as 175 days or less, and then it's shipped out of state. And it's a big difference between, I know there was some talk about goods in transit versus a Freeport good. The goods in transit, we're not asking for that. The goods in transit is typically it's a third-party owned warehouse where the good is shipped out in 175 days, but it can be shipped in Texas. But the owner of the personal property and the owner of the real estate of the building or different owners. And so what we're asking for today is for you guys to approve under section 11251 a Freeport exemption. We've kind of gone over the numbers. Don't want to address that again, happy to. At the end of the day, it's hold harmless to the county. So whoever qualifies, if they file a timely application by 4/1 to the appraisal district approves that Freeport, that percentage of those goods that would qualify for that. That amount of dollars are exempted from the roll based on their prior year sales. And, you know, it's typically a percentage of the people that file for it now. It ranges from 23% to I think 93%. Is what that inventory qualifies for a Freeport good. I think there's currently 11 businesses in Gainesville now that qualify for Freeport exemption, but just kind of in rough numbers, if you use 100% of your rate, your M&O rate, your road and bridge rate, and your FMLR rate, you know, it's about 1.6% of your total levy. Your total levy is about $24 million on a $7.6 billion tax base. And so when we talk about that 1.6%, and it's rough numbers, 100% of that number is $400,000. Because of the increasing value, your values were up 11% this last year, year over year, on your tax base. You know, I sent, I've got them here. Yeah, so your guys levy $7.6 billion, a levy of tax $14,508,821. On the M&O portion, 0.1904, 23 net taxable value was $6.8 million. So you went from 6.8 to 7.6%. Your levy went from 13.6 million to just over 14.5 million. So the M&O portion of the county rate decreased from, in 2023, from 0.19920, so 19.9 cents. You decreased it this past year to 19.04, 4.6% decrease in tax rate. And anyway, I'm happy to, it's really a good tool for economic development. You've got people that want to build warehouses here, we've got some projects that you guys have all heard about that are coming. The Freeport is really important. It's a great economic development tool. And the key, guys, is that it is hold harmless, that you recoup that as long, and let me preface that, as long as you're in a market where your values are increasing year over year, and you have for past 30 years, it's a hold harmless tax for your taxpayer. And you get it back in your effective rate. And I'm happy to, William's here, we're happy to answer any questions, but we'd love to see you guys get that approved today, and we can get down the road with this. And it's going to be good for, you know, new businesses wanting to come to town.
Yes, if I might add, William Myers with the Gainesville Economic Development Corporation. Will touched on the fact of we've got prospects that are looking at this, but we don't even hear about prospects if they look at us at our taxing structure in Cooke County, and they see that we don't have triple Freeport is what they want. They want triple plus. So they want the city, the county, the school. That's the bare minimum. And then if you've got a hospital district or other taxing entities, college, it's a plus if those participate as well. But we don't even hear about the potential for these prospects if we don't have triple Freeport. The comptroller has that. They look at the list and they're like, oh, Cooke County's out. That's it. We don't even hear about it. So the prospects that we've got that are asking us to do this, and some of those include existing industry in the county that are asking us to do this. It's not, we're not just coming to you looking for, we're not just coming to you looking for you to forego taxes. We're looking for you to provide us with an economic development tool that will help us recruit more tax base. That's including existing industry, not just new industry coming in. We're looking at existing industry, growing existing industry, and recruiting additional tax base for the city, the county, and all of the taxing entities in Cooke County. Thank you.
You're saying that you need to triple the schools. Are the schools on board with this?
We're working with them. Well, we have 3 different school districts in Gainesville, Sybil's Bend up north and Camp House. We're talking to them. We're talking to Lindsay School District. That was probably the biggest challenge, just because of the lack of diverse tax base there. It's very heavily weighted on industry that they currently have, and then Gainesville ISD, and we believe that we've got support at Gainesville ISD.
Yeah, we're on their agenda, their next board meeting. We're on the college tonight. We'll present this to the college. We've met with them, obviously, kind of like we met with y'all. I think so far, everything's positive.
Yeah, and at the school district, it surprises me that we didn't do this a long time ago. This is something that I believe is way overdue. You see a lot of very rural counties that may not have this and offer this to industry because they just don't have any industry, so no one's asking for it. The fact that we're on 35 north of the DFW Metroplex, within 30 miles now of the DFW Metroplex, and we don't have this tool, and we haven't been asked to create this tool, is very surprising to me.
Now, Matt, you'd asked last week about Monte County. Their county has approved it. They just have not had anyone that has applied for it. But they have in Monte County, the Freeport is available for the county.
Right.
They just don't have any, they've not had an application.
I
And
did
guys,
find out
that's, a timely applied application has got to be filed, documentation approved by the CCD. It's got to go through that process in order for it to get approved.
There are 254 counties in the state of Texas. A lot of those are very rural, but 80 counties participate in this. And if you look at where they are, they're primarily metro areas and perimeter or heavy industry locations outside of major metro areas. Like, just the density usually brings this on because that's where the wholesalers, distributors, manufacturers want to be because they have a workforce available for the industry to grow, and they want to be close to the market. Well, we're close to the market. We just need the tool to help us open the doors to these opportunities.
Can you give me an idea how Freeport has worked out for other counties? For instance, Grayson County. Has it worked for them? Do you have any kind of data, any kind of facts, figures, or anything like that?
No, other than the fact that their economy is booming.
It's going to be very positive, Judge, because Sean, the chief appraiser there, a good friend of mine, is the downside to a Freeport is when you're not growing. If values are flat and values are decreasing, well then it would, when your effective rate is only, you can only bump it 3.5%. If you're in that type of environment, and I've shared that with all of you, very transparent, that the Freeport would not be good, because that's when it would cost you the money. As long as your values are increasing, it's whole harmless. And so it's going to be the same thing for Grayson.
But on an annual basis, these companies apply for this, so the percentages of that inventory can swing, even if you've got a Freeport exemption or not. Those values can swing. It's just a matter of what percentage of that value is not taxed.
As a Freeport good.
As a Freeport good. The values swing drastically. We've seen that. Now, oil and gas industry, the petroleum products are not eligible for Freeport, but we've experienced that here, that boom and bust cycle. Other industry, on an annual basis, it might be that 90% of their inventory is eligible for it, or we had 93% this year on one of our industry. Maybe next year they're at 85%. And what's that total? We don't know until they report it. This is something that gets them to report it, and then they claim a percentage, and that percentage is then what we have to work with. We're trying to get that portion of the tax base that is taxed added to our local economy, and foregoing the part that's eligible for Freeport. That's the benefit that entices the company to locate or expand in the local economy.
So I don't deny one bit that it's great, and I would like to see it in place at some point. It's just, we still don't, there's so much discussion on the number. You know, the numbers, the number that we're gonna lose in year one, that I wanna make sure that we know that number before I make a decision. But I feel like it's a great chess move in the future of Cooke County. I wanna know the number before we do, and the numbers,
Well,
it's, you know,
the only thing,
getting it from one place and another place, and it's almost like I want to get everybody in the same room in a workshop, and let's get this number zeroed in and get it figured out.
well, we've got the number on the sheet that we've handed out last time that shows what it would be based on last year. Next year depends on what the entities report. But we know the percentages, we've got the totals.
Well, last
I've
time
got
it
extra
was,
copies of that to hand that out. That's the number.
at last court, it was 60,
300.
well, it was, one number showed 300, and then it showed down at the end of it if it would be 60, and, you know, now we're back up. I want to know the number. And
The total value, Jason, is, the total value, non-disputed, the total 100% value, if 100% of their inventory,
Okay.
115,279,150.
okay,
That's 100% of the value.
okay. So if they were to do 100% exemption, we'd be looking at it on 115 million.
115 million in value.
Okay.
And based on your .1904, which is only your M&O rate, that was what I was looking at, apples to apples. That value is $219,000, 100%. $219,000. We know it's not 100%, but if you put your rate on that, if you put your full 31-cent rate on it, you know, when you do the math, it's going to be close to $400,000. That's on 100% of the rate. Yeah, here it is on 3151. 100% of the rate is $387,581.89.
Which is,
100% of the
at
rate.
this point, that would be the absolute worst case scenario.
Yes, sir.
Which is a fortune to, when our budget looks the way it does, but
And so that value loss, you guys are looking at on the,
so on the far right side of this spreadsheet, the 50,000,
that would be
This right here is your loss in 2024. Okay, that's your loss in 2025. This would be what we have to make up. But these numbers have changed, I understand.
part of this problem is you've got one of the companies on there that didn't even apply for it in 2024, and it's still listed on there. This is what came from Doug. This is his sheet.
And
what are they applying for if, I'm sorry, Gary, what are they applying for if we don't have this in place?
You know,
But you said one of the companies didn't apply in 2020.
there weren't enough of their goods that shipped out of state. All their inventory stayed in Texas.
Okay.
So they didn't qualify. It was the second from the bottom on that top list.
That's a great example of what I was saying earlier. You know, on any given year, the numbers vary. Well, in 2024, that company didn't even apply for Freeport. Everything that they had was ineligible, so they paid full tax. It's just if they're exporting outside of the state and if it's within that 175 days.
Oh, you're saying that they're applying for Freeport because the city of Gainesville has it in place?
Yes.
And the hospital district.
That's what I was missing, okay.
So you say oil and gas is not, it doesn't apply for oil and gas.
That's correct.
Does that also include wind, solar?
Well, they would have to have inventory. So
Yeah.
it's only on a business's inventory. not machinery and equipment, not furniture and fixtures, not computers. So a personal property account is made up of vehicles, inventory, machinery and equipment, and computers, FF&E, if you will. And the only piece of that that would qualify would be inventory that's stored here for a temporary period of time, and that portion of that inventory, it would be shipped out of state. You prove that Freeport up by prior year's sales. You've got to, they show a ledger. They show when Doug requests this, they're going to have January sales, February, March, April, all through the calendar. That percentage of those sales that were out of state, and that ranges from 23% to 95% for the companies in Cooke County that have applied. That percentage that's shipped out of state, then you look at what their inventory value is, a 1-to-1 to 25. If they had $1 million in inventory and 50% of their prior year's sales were documented that were shipped out of this state, then that $1 million would go on the tax roll at $500,000. It'd be 50%. So that's why these vary from 23% to 90%.
Shelley, in your email that you sent to us, where did this $1 billion in taxable come from?
Well, that was based on that spreadsheet I got from Doug, that the appraised value was that, and then you lose the Freeport, and then your taxable value.
That's
You
just
just
not
divide it
correct.
by, I didn't divide it by 100. But that spreadsheet was wrong because it was for a school district and not us.
100%, guys, 123 million and $7.6 billion tax base. 1.6% of your tax base.
Will, this 1904 for the M&O?
Yes,
What's
sir.
it do to our road and bridge number?
I'm
Well,
sorry?
that's
How's it impact on-
spreadsheet Doug sent this morning has our full tax rate on it, not just the.
Not just them, see, and I haven't seen all Doug's stuff, but I did talk to Doug, and Doug says that we need to probably recalculate the numbers, because he's not sure the numbers are accurate. And I'm not putting words in his mouth, that's what I inferred from the conversation. But
He doesn't know that if you can just
You can't.
cut, if you can only, I can't think of the word, if you can only just not pay tax on M&O rate, if you have to pay tax on, exclude the tax on all of it.
So Gary, the whole time you and I were talking, we were using 31 cents. And then I received an email that showed just M&O, and I ran it at 0.192 just your M&O rate. I would, talk to Doug all the time. Doug's a friend. I had Doug look at every one of my numbers. Doug, is this correct? Yes, it's correct. And I mean, there's no disputing the total 100% number of the inventory. I mean, and there's no disputing your certified value of $7.6 billion.
But does the road and bridge come in play, guys? That's what I'm asking.
It does, yes. Your whole combined rate, your 31 cents, like you and I
Like we dealt with.
originally talked about, that's your loss, yes, sir. So the spreadsheet that William just handed you, that includes 100% of your tax rate.
And see, I have the same reservation I had last week. I mean, during this past budget cycle, we went all the way to voter approval rating. We took advantage of all of our unused increments. We still took, what, 2 or 3 million out of savings to fund the budget. We had about 300 million in new growth. I think that generated us about 900,000. So 999,000, I think, is what we had in new bills last year. And we're still not funding our
But it doesn't
budget.
affect that. It won't
Because
affect
new
it.
bills won't play into
New
it.
bills free, yes, sir. Yeah, so roughly, you guys this past year, you had 11% increase in value from the 6.5 to the 7.6. 11% increase in new value from 23 to 24. You dropped your rate 4.6 cents. And that was because you went to the max on your rollback.
Yeah, I mean,
And so Had you not done that, you would increase your revenue 11%. However, legislation creates that problem that you cannot do that. And so this, and the whole harmless part of that is you were going to be able to recoup this back and stop. I mean, obviously you want to continue to reduce that rate for taxpayers, but in this situation, y'all went to the max this year, you could have bumped that another 1.4%, which it isn't much. It would have been a penny. But
We'd have to go
that's the whole
voter
harm.
approval though. We'd
I'm
have to
sorry?
go, we'd have to go roll back then, wouldn't we, Will?
No, because it's part of your effective tax rate calculation. When you lose this revenue, if you lost 100%, well then when you calculate your effective rate, it's gonna be higher. So you're gonna get to bump the 3.5 from your effective rate. That's why I'm telling you it's whole harmless, because you recoup it through your rate.
But we're not losing the money, but it's still being paid for by the taxpayer.
It's a shell
It's
game.
just-
either
it's just
coming out of
moving
new
it, but
bills
it's-
or it's going off on tax rate.
But y'all are in a predicament now where you couldn't realize the 11% bump in value.
Oh, I mean, absolutely.
And so.
But if we held the tax rate at the 11% bump in value, that's a tax raise too.
No, it would have been the same rate, Jason, because it's an equilibrium. I mean, it's perfect. If you got an increase of 11%, if you don't do anything, you don't change your rate, your revenue's gonna go up 11%. But because of legislation, without moving your rate at all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If my house is worth, if I'm paying $1,000 on taxes and my house value goes up and we keep the rate the same, I'm gonna pay more than $1,000 in taxes that year.
That's correct.
Because my value,
That's
that's
truth in
still an
tax-
increase in
That's your
taxes.
truth in taxation.
That's your truth in taxation.
So your effective rate is the rate necessary to generate the prior year's levy. So what rate, when you have an 11% increase in value, you've got an 11% increase in rate. What rate is necessary to generate the prior year's levy? That's your effective rate. And with this Freeport exemption, after you guys approve it, it's hold harmless. You're not gonna lose any money.
We're not gonna lose it, but it's gonna be shifted where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But
Initially-
you're spread, instead of these 12 people paying it, these 12 companies, it's gonna be spread out over, 20
The
other
rest of the
thousand.
tax base.
Your entire tax base.
The entire tax base, yeah. Because, there was, talk of, just
Same
homeowners
thing
and
with
stuff,
these
but all the
companies.
businesses,
These
everybody.
companies would share that same burden because all you're exempting is that portion of inventory that qualifies for approval.
Yeah. And with this chess move, hoping that we have other businesses come in that, one $200 million business is a whole lot of houses.
Yeah, we got a gentleman in the room, he has 2 million square foot of warehouse space he's got about $1 million left in Denton that would love to build warehouses here. And his tenants, his clients, the prospects, that Freeport exemption is very important. You saw how important it was on our Project Star that we've talked about. I mean, it's really important.
Oh, that's what I said. I see the need. I agree that we need it, and it will be an amazing chess move. I just want to make sure that I know my method for my madness, because I'm the one going to get my butt chewed out when they realize that it was a tax increase.
I can't reiterate enough, this is adversely impacting existing industry right now. Forget recruiting.
Yeah.
Forget prospects. This is adversely impacting existing industry right now. They're making decisions where they want to reinvest in their company. Is it in local, if they're multi-location industry, is it locally, or is it in Denton County, or is it in California? Where the existing industry is considering this in their daily operations now. This is not just for expansion. The positive part is you've got a whole realm of expansion that's possible as well. And we're dealing with that in our responses to these leads and the leads that we're not seeing because of this. So that's why we felt like it's just urgent to get it approved and get it in place so we actually have it in place and we can promote it.
Once again, you keep talking about the urgency of getting it approved and everything else. And I've asked this question before, what is the timing? When is the drop dead?
Right now.
You've got applications, Freeport exemptions are applied for by 4/1.
Okay,
4/2025. And so if Doug's gonna get applications, renditions are being filed now, personal property returns are being filed right now. And so, those requests are going out, and the personal property returns are due 4/15, but the Freeport exemptions is due 4/1. And just another thing, this is different than a tax abatement, guys. So a tax abatement is ruled under Chapter 312 of the tax code. And it requires a public hearing for a tax abatement agreement before it can be approved. The purpose is to ensure transparency, allow public input, and evaluate the impact of post abatement. A 30-day public notice must be provided before a hearing specific details about an abatement. Unlike a Freeport exemption, a Freeport exemption is governed by 11-251 of the property tax code. The abatement, there's no statutory requirement for a public hearing before granting a Freeport exemption. Instead, Freeport exemptions are applied for annually by property owners or evaluated by the chief appraiser based on eligibility criteria. The exemption is automatically available if a taxing unit has adopted it by resolution, and its approval process does not involve a public hearing.
Oh, back to the urgency. Once again, you still have to talk to 3 school districts, is that right? When do you expect some sort of?
I think we'll have them all in place by the end of February.
Okay, so back to my question then, what if, is that depending on whether or not we join?
No.
Or, okay, so if we put this off another 2 weeks, for instance, before we made a decision as a county, what would that, since you don't have the three school districts in place anyway?
We got the city in place, we've got the hospital in
Right,
place.
right,
I hope we have the college in place after tonight.
okay,
And then, we've really gotten all positive feedback from GISD. They're the ones that, it's going to be affect, Lindsay for one seat manufacturer out there. That's a big one. And then Sybil's Bend, as they've already indicated as well, because it is hold harmless for school districts specific to M&O. They get that reimbursed back from the state. So Sybil's Bend has 0 INS, they have no debt. So it's no money to them at all. GISD, because of what values are doing, the same thing. But we would love to see you guys vote for this today.
Yeah.
Speaking
It's just, the numbers aren't going to change in 2 weeks, and the need for it's not going to change in 2 weeks.
well, but out of an abundance of caution is what I'm talking about here. I think, I personally would like to see us get together and talk about this more. Just me, you guys may already have your minds made up, and if so, we'll, go ahead and do whatever.
Speaking of no debt, Shelley, for this budget, for our 2025 budget, did we have one more jail payment?
No.
We did not pay a jail payment this year.
Shelley, was there some other tax code that talked to a public hearing?
Well, the Constitution talks about it if you're going to tax. But we did that in 2011.
We've done a public hearing in 2011.
Yeah,
If we're
Thank
gonna
you.
fund it, not a tax, then
You got a bunch of smart guys here, believe it or not, who I'm sure will do the right thing, whatever y'all want to do.
Do we need to bring industry here? Because this is important, and I don't think it's, I'm telling you what I'm hearing from industry. I don't know if they would come, but this is an existing issue today, and we've presented twice already.
Understand?
And the numbers aren't going to change. It's we're not asking you for something that may have an impact. It's definitely something that's a drag on us from an economic impact, economic recruitment standpoint.
If we pass it today, my concern is it'll take a while to get things built out. We're almost signing up for voter approval rating without any discretion for
If,
some
what-
period of time.
if we what?
So if we pass this today, I think the court's probably signing up we would have to stay at voter approval rating for our tax rate for some significant period of time without any discretion.
Depends on what your values are doing.
Actually, we had huge growth this last time, and we still didn't get our bills paid without saving.
But we've grown for 30 years.
I'm sorry?
We've been on a trend of growing for 30 years. So,
I see the value. It is a very, very big decision. I don't see any harm in 2 more weeks. But, I mean, if you're wanting to get together and talk about it, we need to do a workshop, and be serious about it, because, I mean, it is
That's
a
fine.
very, very important decision, and, and I think it is the vital chess move moving forward for Cooke County. I say it all the time, we need some other things to help, and I understand that it's gonna help current industry too. I'm not overlooking that fact, but I see it as, I say all the time, we need some big warehouses in things that are paying lots of property taxes to help all the housing rooftops, and I see that, I see this as the chess piece that makes that happen. And you're right, Gary, it's not gonna happen tomorrow. But, with everything coming up this I-35 corridor, it'll be sooner than later. So, but I don't see the harm in 2 more weeks, but I wanna be serious about getting together and getting ready to make a good decision.
That's kind of what I was getting to. And don't get us wrong, guys. I think we all see the value of this, and I think it's a good thing. I personally think it's a good thing, okay? I would like to have just a couple more questions, that one last little visit situation where it's just us and maybe the public or whoever's sitting around discussing the issue one more time. But I would like to wait 2 more weeks myself, and since it's not going to be a end-all, be-all type of thing, if we wait 2 more weeks, I wouldn't mind waiting 2 more weeks.
okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay?
To bring it back as is, we just vote to table it.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we table it.
Okay, we have a motion to table it. Do I hear a second? I'll second that.
But, go ahead. I was gonna say, if we wanted to bring it back as a public hearing to be safe, we could do that as well. We can make that decision.
And, well, for one thing,
You can't do that?
I know there's a
Oh,
couple of
yeah.
us that would like for Doug to be here, for instance, to join in the conversation. And you mentioned industry, okay? I'd love to hear from industry too. There's just a few last-minute things to make it a perfect situation for us, let's put it that way. It's a lot of taxpayer money that we're talking about, and we have just got to be as careful as we can with it. So I don't think 2 more weeks will hurt anything. Are you available in 2 weeks?
I believe so. Should be. February 10th? Is that right? I'm trying to make it work.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Any other comments or questions on the Freeport?
Thank y'all. I'm just talking out loud. No, it's fine.
Well, we had a motion in a second, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we didn't.
Yes,
We didn't vote yet.
no.
All in
There's a
favor?
motion to bring back in 2 weeks impossible workshop, is that the motion?
Can't-
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In the
Well,
interim, a workshop in the interim, but bring it back in 2 weeks for action. No action this time.
No, it's not a no action, y'all made a motion.
If you table it, you have to bring it back exactly how it is.
Yeah.
We can't bring it
If you
two,
take no
we can't bring it
action-
back in 2 weeks for,
What you
Take
what
no
motion
action,
to
then
table
bring-
it and
If you take
then
no action, you can bring it back
consider.
however you want.
We take no action, and then we can bring it back.
okay, yeah,
And if you
that's
want to
fine.
schedule your workshop, don't tie the two together, schedule
Yeah.
your workshop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Then I withdraw my
We've
motion.
talked about all that, so I just wasn't sure what to put in the
Yeah,
motion.
I withdraw my motion.
okay, item number 7 is no action. And we will likely visit the situation sometime in the interim. Item number 8, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the request for an extension on the specific use permit for Edge of the Lake wedding venue and wine production facility.
Per the Lake Ray Roberts regulations, that I should have brought with me, you have 6 months to begin construction. If not, you have to apply for an extension on the special use permit, and you can apply for 2, so they have requested an extension on their special use permits that we have granted for the wedding venue and their wine production facility. So I make a motion that we extend those 2 special use permits.
Second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, to extend the permits. We have a second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 9, deliberate and consider possible approval of preliminary plat for Elmview Estates, a proposed 6-lot development in precinct 4. Commissioner Matt Sicking.
Did we get our email, Kathy?
Sorry?
We get our email?
Yes.
Okay, so, yeah. I think we move forward. Do you have anything you want to add to it, Darrell?
I don't believe so, no.
Pretty straightforward.
We got all that paperwork and ducks in a row.
I think pretty straightforward. So I'll make a motion to approve preliminary plat.
Second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Sicking, second, Commissioner Snuggs, to approve the preliminary plat. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 10, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the approval of accepting the award of the FY24 State Criminal Alien Assistance Program in the amount of $21,407 and designate the use of the funds. Whose is that?
Mine.
Oh, okay.
So this is the Department of Justice grant that pays us for housing illegal aliens. And so when we accept the award, there's a list of what you have to designate that you're going to spend it on, which I think is in your packet. In the past, y'all have chosen the mental health portion, and that's what's been paying for Texoma Community Care to, that the jail can send the inmates, or have phone calls, or I'm not sure how it's done. I think it's by phone call, but But according to the list, y'all have to pick, A, if you're going to approve it, and B, you have to pick something on the list to spend it on. And it's just based on our inmates, not the ones that we've been housing for other counties.
Anybody have any more questions on this one?
Same one, been for years, just renewing it, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Same one, just adding to it, renewing it.
No, this is for FY '24. It's based on July 1st of '22 to June 30 of '23's inmates.
But we've approved it before, just different,
Yes.
different years.
Yes.
Just new years.
Move to approve.
You got to pick something.
Huh?
You got to pick something.
What I gotta fix?
Salaries for correction officers, overtime costs,
What'd you
correct?
say we used on previous?
Mental health. Medical and mental health.
And we done mental health in the past.
Here's a dumb question. Mental health for anyone that
the
needs it
inmates.
or inmates?
Just inmates.
Just inmates, okay. And if it's not used, what happens? It just goes?
Well, it sits in reserve
Okay.
for mental health.
Probably a good place to use it is medical and mental health. You want to adjust your motion, Gary?
No, oh, you want me to make the motion now and it be designated for mental health use?
Now that you know what you're talking about, go ahead.
Good drugs, you know, what can we say? I'd make the motion that we,
Accept the award and designate mental health, to be used for mental health.
and then can I apply?
No.
If you're an inmate, you
If
can.
you're an inmate, we can arrange that.
Make the motion, we accept the award and apply the funds toward mental health.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, Commissioner Hollowell, to approve item number 10, which is to accept the amount of $21,407 and designate the use for mental health for, I should say inmates, don't need to, okay. And then we have a second, Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We have none. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 11, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the phone system upgrade. Bring it.
So to tell you a little bit about our phone system plans,
Thanks for being here, by the way.
you budgeted money to replace the county's phone system during the June budget hearings last year, and the next thing we need to do to move that project along is pick a vendor. So I can talk to you a little bit about that if you like. I answer your questions, anything you like.
What are you thinking?
I got quotes from 5 different vendors. The 2 top choices in my mind are rather local, Nortex Communications or Vested Networks. They both give us very good value for what we're doing. They both kind of have different options for us where we can pay to rent the phones and pay our monthly service cost, or with Nortex, you can purchase the phones and then pay a monthly service cost. Vested doesn't offer that option where you buy the phones and you own the phone sets. If you look at all the charts that I gave you, pretty much to sum that up, if we went with Nortex Communications and purchased the phones, we would be saving money as we go forward down the road.
And that's where we ended up before, right? And then, I understand Vested Networks is interested,
Yeah.
but I thought Vested, and it says here that you can't buy the phones from Vested. But now, I think in a conversation with her, she said, oh, no, you can buy the phones.
Yeah.
So, but I thought we had decided to do Nortex and done with it.
That's what I had
thought.
thought too, but
And-
I guess
So,
we needed to make the final decision.
Yep. and we can get those vendors to come and talk to you. We can get them to email details, anything you like. I'm happy to do it. I think we couldn't go wrong with either one. The long-term savings seems to be there with Nortex.
You said semi-local, where's the vested?
They're in Dallas.
So, question, if, let's say we buy the phones, what's the advantage of buying the phones other than, well, the obvious is they go on to us, but for how long are those phones gonna be useful? I mean, with technology changing by leaps and bounds all the time, how long are those phones gonna be appropriate, I guess, would be the...
That's an excellent question. I would say, unless there's some major change in phone technology, which there could be, because technology changes pretty quick, I would say we could probably go 8 to 10 years at least with those. If we have phones that break, we replace them. If we own them, we purchase a replacement. If we're renting them, we get a replacement provided to us. The good thing about either one of these options is it's a cloud-based phone system, so there's no phone switch on our premises that we have to worry about replacing, and that's the driver right now. We have phone switches that are very old that we can't get replacement parts for. We need to get those out of here and go to something like this that's cloud managed. So
But even if we rent the phones, it's gonna be an extended deal. It's not like they're gonna let us, oh, there's a new phone come out, and they're gonna let us get all new phones in 5 years, and it's gonna be a extended rental.
We're not gonna replace your product.
Yeah, they're not gonna replace them just because things change, it's gonna be an extended.
They're gonna get their money back on their
Yeah.
investment for what they provided.
Yeah,
to start.
because basically, if we're buying the phones for, whatever, it's 30,000, they're spending, not that exact amount, but, something in the neighborhood to put them in here, so they're gonna make us rent them until they get their money back. It's not like we're gonna get a new phone every, 3 years like an iPhone because we're renting it or whatever.
that would be an interesting question. I don't think I've asked those vendors, how long, if we rent them, do we have to keep them? Because if they're sitting here for 15 years, those are gonna be some pretty old phones at that
Yeah,
point.
it'd be a good
So-
question to ask if it was that long, but I've been through it in the personal world, and it's an extended lease. I mean, my thoughts are, Nortex all the way. I mean, whether we buy or rent, that would be the next deal, but, like Gerald said, probably be money ahead. Buying.
If we do the purchase method through Nortex, in our 4th year, we'll start saving money. So we've purchased those phones, spread those out over the first 3 years, and in year 4, we start saving. The other bonus with Nortex, and I know this takes some accounting details that mere IT don't understand, but Nortex has offered to buy back the phone system we put in the Justice Center 3 years ago, and that buyback offer was $8,250. So, and
Which
we're-
needs to go on court to approve a trade-in.
Trade-in.
Sure, understood. So that's something Nortex has offered us, the other vendor doesn't offer. Other bonuses, the phones Nortex is proposing are considerably better phones than the Vested Network choice. Vested Network is kind of a mid-tier phone. The Nortex phone is outstanding quality. Both the same brand, but just different models.
My vote's Nortex.
We have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, to stay with Nortex. And funny thing is, your dad and your uncles and I had this discussion 60 years ago, whether we should go with Nortex and we decided Nortex then. So I'll go ahead and second
You didn't-
Nortex.
Send messages back and forth with homing pigeons?
No, we just lit bales on fire to
Oh.
smoke signals.
Smoke signal?
Hey, that's good, that's good.
Just like that.
But, so.
That was cheap.
But,
So I'll second that motion.
I think at this point, I think it's more or less we need to move forward with Nortex, but I think it'll probably have to come back to court for the official
Sure. What I'd like
That's
to
my
do,
motion. We'll move forward with him getting everything in a row to bring us the official contract.
And I second is still good.
I'd be happy to go back to them, get a refreshed quote, because these numbers are from budget time, and I feel pretty confident that they'll stand by their same price or very similar price.
Okay?
So your deal there says Nortex buy phones is 30,600 or whatever.
Yes.
So with them purchasing or buying back the old phone, that's gonna pull it down to 22,000.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna go back to more than one vendor, you're just going to Nortex, right?
If that's what you directed.
Yeah, I mean, he said go with Nortex, I wouldn't go back open that up because,
Right.
In the motion, are we gonna put rent or buy? Do we need to put rent or buy in the motion or not? I don't know.
I couldn't hear.
Do we
I'm
need to
sorry.
put rent or buy in the motion? No?
I would recommend we buy those phones, and
I just didn't know if it needed to be.
Yeah, that's the way I would,
that
would be my motion.
that's the least expensive going forward. Otherwise, we're paying the same amount every month, and we don't start saving. With the purchasing the phones, we start saving money in year 4.
But won't that be determined before we come back for finalization, you know?
Well, we're gonna buy them, they need to get the contract and everything.
Yeah, you
then
gotta
we need
get
to
all the
vote on the
contract, bring it all to
Okay,
us. The
gotcha.
contract with the trade-in price and all that stuff.
Sure. And I'll bring that information back to you when I have it
It's available. Thank you for your, that's great.
You know
Thank
what?
you.
Okay.
printed large so we can all see it comfortably.
Okay, Darrell, thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Should we vote?
Uh,
Ready to vote?
We'll vote on that. We have a motion to essentially bring this back again
Well-
and determine
When he has the contract.
finalization of the final product. And
We vote to go with Nortex.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they'll, next time they'll come back with the contract and whatever, we'll
Right.
vote on that, but
Right.
right now we need to vote which system we're going with, right?
Right.
Well, then let's vote. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
the only thing that should come back is us accepting the trading value, right, Shelley? The contract,
And
us
the
accepting.
contract.
And the contract.
All the official stuff.
Yeah. At least we've got the vendor, so.
Yeah.
And Nortex has got Callisburg up and running.
Supposed to be headed to Woodbine too.
So-
I
Said it
know
cost
about
them a little
that
bit
for
more, but
sure.
they went ahead and did it. I mean, they added some to it.
Is Rick here? Yes, he is. All right, item number 12, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the malfunctioning door at the library.
Good morning, everybody. So, we're talking about the sliding automatic opening door down at the library. And typically, if there was a repair needed to be done, I would just have it fixed. But this is a little more complicated, so that's why I'm bringing it to y'all. So the door was an old door when I came here 22 years ago. The tracks and everything are worn pretty bad. So it's turned it on one morning and it won't come on. So the company that installed it, that has a phone number on the door and everything, I've called them many times and can't get any kind of an answer. And I'm not so sure they're in business anymore. I don't know. We can't get any response from them. So Gainesville Glass has a guy he uses. So he came up, looked at it, and the first quote you see on the top of the sheet there is to replace the electronic eye and operating mechanism, not mechanism, but the electronics of it. He says that's what's burned up in it. But he said sometimes when that happens, it also burns the motor up. And you don't know that until you put that part in so you can test the motor. If the motor is out, then you add the $987, which brings you to $3,833. At that point, you have a new motor, a new operating system, but the track and the mechanical part that actually pushes it back and forth is still 30 years old or whatever it is. Two other options that he presented to me. The bottom one there, it says to install a whole new system, which is all of the mechanical parts, new motor, new electronics, all of the driving portion that pushes the door open and closed, would be $9,206. But you still have the old door. So what I didn't get a quote from him, he said, I'll try to get it to you if I can, but I'm going out of town. And he did not get it to me, but he told me verbally, for about $12,000, you pull that whole mechanism, the whole door out, put a whole brand new door, brand new sliding door, brand new everything. That's to put a sliding door back in there like it is now. The other option is to put a swinging door that hinges with an operator on it. Walk up, push a button, and it automatically opens. That's about $6,000.
And that meets ADA?
That's ADA.
in?
That's ADA. It's just like the basement doors in the courthouse. You walk up, push the door, and it opens.
That sounds like the ticket right there.
He didn't get me an actual quote on it, but he told me, just verbally told me, he said, you're looking at about $6,000 to do that.
So, you said on this, a whole new system is 9,200, but that's still not new tracks and everything. That's what I got lost. I thought the 9,200 was a whole new sliding door.
Now, that was 12, right?
That was
12,000
What
for
is
the
the
whole new door.
9,200 again?
It's the motor and the, I picture a chain or something, but they say it's a worm gear type rod that goes through it that pushes the door back and forth. It's the operating system, the mechanical and electronic part of the operating system in the old door.
Jennifer, how well did the door slide and operate? I mean, I know it worked, just,
Yeah, and we've had issues at the time, but they've been quick fix like that. Another company came.
And relatively inexpensive. They would have to do an adjustment or a micro switch or something, but
yeah, something small.
this is,
But it worked. There's not been any problem. When I was gone on vacation last month, they had a little issue, and then it worked again for a little while, and then it's just quit. So it's not been an issue. My concern is where the buttons are gonna go, because inside you have a marble wall in the foyer coming in, so that's where you'd have to put it for it to open, because there's not a big enough wall on the other side. There's a little wall like this on the east or north side of the door.
It can be
You
running,
did not put
it can be running conduit.
And then outside, you've got concrete.
It can be running conduit.
I mean, I don't know if that's gonna take into consideration the cost of those kinds of doors.
Did they not put a sensor on there? I mean, like, a lot of your stores, you walk up and it senses somebody there and it automatically opens.
that one does that now,
Yeah.
and it's very
But I
possible.
think he's asking about like at Tom Thumb.
I understand.
Right, that's all I can think of is Tom Thumb has the two separate doors and you walk up and it automatically opens for.
I'm sure they could do
They
that.
have, that one has a touchpad, Tom Thumb.
Okay. I just know they open.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know how
I
they
just,
do.
when I was a kid, I used to like to step on them.
But the other concern I have is, right now, an older person who's got a walker and her books and her purse. I know we have some women who are older who are coming, it just adds another thing for them is to have to hit the button, because they can't pull that door. The door we have right now that we're using is way too heavy. So, it's really hard. We've been taking a lot of stuff out to people.
Well, by law, we have to have a
Yeah.
opening door.
Exactly, and the door we have right now.
Over time, would a manhole door get rid of all the tracks and all that stuff, and probably be less maintenance and
A swinging door is way less maintenance than
Yeah.
a sliding door.
if we had to keypads, we could put them on pedestals, could we not?
Yes.
I mean, not.
Well,
mount
on
it
the
on
outside, they can mount it on the wall, and they're wireless. The
But
push buttons are wireless.
No, I didn't realize that.
I didn't know that either.
These push buttons down here are
I just-
wireless.
Oh, okay.
I just pictured conduit running
Yeah,
through
me
my head.
too.
Yeah.
But it's a $6,000 fix to go with an ADA approved.
So will it be two doors?
That price is one door, one 3-foot door.
Okay, one 3-foot door?
Well, it'll have to be handicapped, but is it 3 foot or 36 inches?
Because three,
Whatever.
yeah,
36 inches is 3
What?
foot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do what?
Never mind.
Your math is not math.
Okay. Good jokes.
Well, and we can put a double door, and I thought about putting a double door because periodically we have to move counters and things in and out of there.
That's- Yeah.
Well, they could also do one swinging door and then one
Stationary.
stationary.
And that's what you would do.
Latch it.
Yeah, you would leave one stationary and one with an opener on it.
Of course, that may not be in that $6,000 quote, you may
No,
be
that's,
back.
that's gonna be a little more probably, but anyway, he's gone for 10 days, so to get an actual quote on that is gonna be difficult. Maybe,
Have you tried to Google the other company? Maybe they moved?
I have not, I've just called their phone number several times. But in my mind, if that's what's wrong with it, that's what's wrong with it, and whoever fixes it. I did call one company out of Sherman, and their price to come and look at it was $175 an hour with a 3-hour minimum. So,
That's $600 just for them to come over and say hello.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we didn't go that direction, but. And we can get other quotes if we can find other companies. There's not a whole lot of people that work on.
Well, it's the only
tech.
sliding door we have in the
Well,
whole
we're good.
county, so I just assume it'd be on too.
Yeah, get rid of it.
He does. Rick, do you have the name of that company that,
Stanley Door Solutions.
Say that again?
Stanley Door Solutions is the name on the door.
sounds like my neighbor?
I would think adding a stationary door wouldn't kill the quote too much, because he's still talking about putting glass all the way across there, and instead of it being framed in for glass, it'd be framed in, have hinges on it. I wouldn't think it'd be crazy to go double.
Be a little bit more, I'm sure, but not
crazy.
not a lot.
crazy.
Not a lot.
Eliminate that rail in that framework.
Yep.
The whole opening is glass, so we're gonna have to put glass in there, and it's just a matter of whether they're putting 2 doors or 1. That's the difference. So whatever the extra cost of that other door is what you're looking at.
Then you figure your glass to fill in there, it's probably not gonna be a whole lot of difference. I mean,
Not a lot, no. You got some door hardware, and, you know, whatever the cost of a door versus a glass panel, you know, got difference. And then the next question would be, does that come out of my budget, or is that a permanent improvement thing, or we need to determine that as well.
Can that come out of permanent improvements?
I'll have to look and see.
Regardless, if we pull it out of your budget, if you get in a bind later in the year, we'll just have to make adjustments for it,
Right.
because it's a
I don't
unplanned
have a problem
deal.
with that, but that's just a question that needed to be asked.
Speaking of unplanned
Anything
deals, have we
popping
been
up
paid
there?
back from FEMA yet?
I mean, there's a few different ones that have the word Stanley in them, but they're not door solutions. There's Stanley Home Solutions of
I
Texas,
think we got this thing.
Stanley Access Technologies, they all deal with the same door type of thing, but
Could be Stanley. We used to have an office right over here.
so I mean, I don't know exactly.
I mean, we don't have a final price anyhow yet,
Yeah.
guys, so we'll have to come back to court.
Yeah, we'll need to bring it back, but I was just needing direction from you guys on what y'all want to do.
Yeah, it's
Now
not
we
a
need
quick
more
fix.
information.
Need more information?
It's not a quick fix, and Brian did contact the husband of one of my staff people to say, hey, can I come to the library over the weekend, you know, and no one was there, and she didn't tell me until we were doing inventory, and he was already gone, so.
I wonder why you didn't call me.
I don't know. So, you know, we know that he is gone and that he's on his mind when he gets back, so.
I'll bring this back to you. In the meantime, see if you can get in touch with Stanley.
I've called them 7 or 8 times.
Well,
There's no answer. On the phone number that's on that door,
yeah.
they won't respond.
It sounds like though we're headed toward eliminate that anyway.
Yeah,
Sounds like-
I think we're better off. I think it matters just getting the firm.
I could be confused today,
I think he's like a third
but
person,
someday.
you know, a third vendor.
They have the equipment
Yeah.
on the door.
You can't get till we get you some number.
no problem, okay. I thought you said six.
Well, but we changed the plan.
Oh, gotcha.
You were right up till we changed the plan to it.
Oh.
I think I did.
Yeah, I guess we'll just, have to just sit on it until we can get a firm number to act on the stationary door.
You want double doors or single?
We'll need a firm number on both.
Okay.
So what are you doing in the meantime, Jennifer? How
We're
the-
using the south door where people have to pull it open. There's no other option. So, because we can't leave that door wide open, the leaves are all, you know, and it's cold. I mean, it cost us more money to leave that door open heat-wise. If it was summer, spring, or fall, it'd be great, you know?
We'll
But
get you a
right
leaf
now-
blower and you can stand at the door.
Luckily, last week, you know, we had inventory and people were doing curbside anyhow, and we don't mind taking stuff out to people. That's, even if the door wasn't broken, we still are doing that. So that's not a big deal. But it is like, I know there's an older woman who comes in almost weekly and she uses a computer and she reads the magazines and she gets books. She has a walker, she's 94, I think. And she said, that door's a little heavy for me. We said, well, let us know when you're coming and we'll open the door for you, you know? So, but, till then luckily we have another door, right?
Yep, for sure.
Shirley, I just texted you the phone number.
Thank you.
Perfect.
It doesn't say, on this, it doesn't say Stanley Door Solutions on that sticker there, but
Just listen to Pam and get out of here.
Yep, good with that. Oh, what are you in a hurry?
Just bring it back.
so, yeah. So
Sleep here.
I'll get firm quotes and hopefully within 2 weeks I can get them.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds
Thank
good,
you, sir.
Rick. Thank you,
Thank you,
Jennifer.
guys.
Up and up.
So item number 12 is no action.
Thanks, sir.
Item number 13, discussion and possible action regarding ES&S poll book certification and upgrades.
All right, so what this is our ES&S poll books have been decertified by the Secretary of State, and that letter that you see in your packet was a letter that ES&S sent, so to the commissioners, they kind of wanted to explain what went wrong. And so basically, they did an upgrade about 3 months before the election, and during all our testing, everything went fine. And the only problem, because you've seen what happened in Dallas County, there were a lot of news, a lot of newspaper articles and on the news what happened there, where they were getting the wrong ballot style, but that did not happen here in Cooke County. The only thing happened here was they did have some delay. They were freezing up, and what I did, I had extra poll books here where Dallas County didn't have that option because they're countywide. So when one would freeze up, we would just put a new one right there in front of them, and that one would unfreeze in maybe a minute or two, it would unfreeze. Because it sounds like in Dallas County, when it would freeze up, the judges would just hit there and keep hitting accept voter, and then it did something where they were getting the wrong ballot style when it finally unfroze, I guess. But we did not have that. Y'all seen during when we canvassed that all our ballots were the right, they got the right ballot style for the right precinct. So that didn't happen here. But anyway, they're decertified. So that thing I handed y'all was a briefing we had with the Secretary of State. And I was going to tell you too, they did work on it to try to resolve the issue during early voting. So on election day, we didn't have this issue. And even during early voting that next week, it wasn't, they didn't freeze up near as much. They still froze up a little, but not near as much, so they did work on the issue to try to fix it. But anyway, by election day, they weren't freezing up. So, anyway, what the conference was about was they're just trying to give us different options, what we can do, like purchasing. A lot of counties are going to purchase new poll books for this next year, and there is a grant that you can apply for, and so they were just explaining all that. And luckily, because ES&S is going to go back, you'll see in the letter that they're going to try to get a new version certified by March the 3rd. So I just didn't want to apply for that grant if we didn't need to, and so they did extend that grant time to the end of March to apply for that grant. It does worry me a little that they talked about funding could be gone by then, but because I would like to stay with ES&S if they all agree, because says we have all ES&S. We got the voting machine, the express vote, our scanners, my central count scanner, it's all ES&S. So when you program them poll books, the flow is a lot better. When we had them other poll books, I think we had, I can't remember, it was a nightmare to get them programmed because ES&S wasn't doing it. You had another vendor doing it, so it was just kind of took a lot more to get them programmed. And now it's just fewer steps. I mean, it's still scary to do it and making sure we get everything correctly, but it's just more efficient. So I would like to stay with the ES&S Publics and just cross our fingers that they do get recertified, and I feel like they will. It was just a glitch that when they did that new upgrade. So, and yeah, the Secretary of State was just giving us them options of ordering new poll books. So, do y'all have any questions about it? And our judges love these poll books. These are the best ones we've ever had, the way they work. And they don't want to have to learn a new poll book system because it'd be completely different. So I would like to see what happens in March. And if they don't get certified, then yeah, we would have to apply for that grant pretty quick and figure out which poll book we want to go with. Because we only have a couple of options, I think. I think there's Hart.
So right now, we can just kind of hold tight?
Yeah, we just got to hold tight. This is just letting y'all know what's going on, so y'all ain't surprised if we do have to do this. Or if you see the articles in the paper or something.
Match would be nice to take advantage of.
Yeah.
What?
I said, if we did need some, that 80-20 match would be nice to take advantage of.
Yeah, I put the grant in there in y'all's packet. I'm not, that explains it.
Can the grant be used even if we just want to buy a few more poll books? It's
No.
only for if the
It can only be for replacing. It has to be the number that you used in the November election is the only one. Luckily, I used every one of mine, so I had 30.
But do you have to dispose of the ones you have if you take the money?
I'm sure ES&S would probably buy them back for not a lot. I don't know. I haven't asked them about that. If they
We
would
wouldn't
buy 'em.
double our number. We couldn't use that to increase our number. of
Right,
poll
no,
books.
you cannot do that. I'm pretty
So-
sure it says that in that way.
Through your channels, do you have any idea, just any kind of feeling at all, whether or not they're gonna stay with the same poll books, or they're gonna approve the same poll books, or,
Oh, the Secretary of State?
yeah?
I mean, I've talked to my vendor there. They feel pretty confident that they're going to recertify them.
Okay.
I think they really didn't want to decertify them, but they had so many complaints. You know, I didn't complain because, I mean, they froze up just, things happen. So I feel pretty confident they'll recertify them.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is more for information for y'all.
Okay. Anybody have anything on that then? Item number 13 is no action then.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Pam. Item number 14, deliberate and consider possible action regarding allowing precinct 2 to create an additional road crew position. Oh, man.
Yeah, me and Charles got to talking. I think I'm going to follow suit right now and go to 10, see how it works, so I can break up into 2 crews to stay ahead of my tree trimming and stuff, so. Just everybody else, you went to 10, right, Matt? You're at 11. 10?
Got 7.
Good Lord. Well, I've only got 8 right now. I've still got to hire 2 guys.
Now, I've got, I don't know, but I haven't.
I mean,
I've
I'm
got 2
running
guys that I'm gonna hire.
260 miles road. How many miles y'all got?
230. Yep.
Oh, I've got 180
180.
or 400 or something like
I think it's all the same.
Where are you gonna take the money from?
I will do that the next deal. I'll probably move it over from my contingency and create the new position, but I just wanted to do the approval now, and then I'll bring the budget amendment to court.
Yes.
So I didn't bring a budget amendment with me, it's just having y'all approve the position today.
You need a second?
Well, whenever Matt did his, somebody else motioned just.
I make the motion, we let Jason get his 10th person.
Well, I'll second that.
Okay. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you vote on that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you ought to.
It's not a.
It's his people.
Yeah,
I know.
it's not a conflict of interest right now.
All right. Motion passes 5-0.
I am gonna tell the 10th person that I bring on that it's trial, you know. It'll last at least a year, but after that, I don't know, we'll see. Thank y'all.
All right. Congratulations. Item number 15, any need for executive session?
that.
For anybody?
Yeah, can we got a subject we need to talk about, contract related. For just a
Okay.
minute.
Then, item number 15, executive session in compliance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Codes Annotated Consultation with the county attorney regarding, would you call Ed
He's not available until after 12.
till after 12?
Well, we don't need
Andrew's
him.
not here.
We
You don't need him?
No, we don't need him.
Okay. And,
If y'all do need him, he said he's available afternoon,
okay,
but it's
say
only-
again
11:20.
the purpose.
It's, discuss some personnel and contract issues.
Okay, sounds good. Personnel contract issues.
All right, I can't write that down. I
Think
just got
that's
to
what it'll
recess
fall
at
under.
some time.
It'd be at, everybody, Christian, you about ready to leave? Ready?
Nope. I gotta get your disc out and put mine in. Hold on. Now I'm ready.
All right, you have a disc there?
Yep.
All right. That being said, and everybody necessary is back in the room, we will reconvene Commissioners Court from executive session at 12:05. Item number 16, deliberate and consider possible action regarding consultation with attorney regarding proposed actions and advice to the court, real property contracts being negotiated, or any personnel matters, and there be no action on item 16. Which brings us to item 17, Jason.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion Commissioner Snuggs to adjourn. Second Commissioner Hollowell. We will adjourn at 12:06.